the Dunning-Kruger Effect. Why ignorance begets confidence, and experts doubt the Dunning-Kruger effect is not just a clever phrase to describe someone's foolish behavior. It is a fundamental cognitive bias that profoundly influences how we evaluate ourselves, our colleagues, employees, and partners. Understanding its mechanisms is key to personal and professional growth, especially in a volatile world like business and entrepreneurship. Origins. The lemon juice robbery. The discovery of this effect begins with an almost anecdotal case. In 1995, a Pittsburgh resident named MacArthur Wheeler robbed two banks in broad daylight, single-handedly. He wore no mask, and his face was clearly captured on surveillance cameras. When police arrested him at his home later that evening and showed him the footage, Wheeler was utterly shocked. He muttered, "But I wore the juice." As it turned out, Wheeler sincerely believed that rubbing lemon juice on his face, which is used as invisible ink, would make him invisible to video cameras. He had even conducted a test. He photographed himself with the juice on his face and, not seeing his image on the film, likely due to a development error or his own incompetence, confirmed the method's effectiveness. This absurd case intrigued psychologist David Dunning from Cornell University. Together with his graduate student, Justin Kruger, they asked a question. Could incompetence rob people of the ability to recognize their own incompetence? The essence of the effect. The 4 pillars of ignorance. Dunning and Kruger conducted a series of experiments, testing students' logical reasoning, grammar, and sense of humor. The results, published in 1999, were unambiguous and allowed them to formulate the effect as a combination of 4 key components. Incompetent individuals tend to overestimate their actual abilities. This is the core of the effect. A person at a low level of skill simply does not possess sufficient knowledge to understand how complex the domain is. They feel they have grasped it all. Incompetent individuals fail to recognize genuine competence in others. When looking at an expert's work, they do not see the nuances, subtleties, and depth that make it truly high quality. They think, "I could do that too." Incompetent individuals cannot recognize the extent of their incompetence. This is where metacognition comes into play, the ability to think about one's own thinking. To understand that you are bad at something, you need the same knowledge you lack. A vicious circle arises. To realize your incompetence, you need to be at least somewhat competent. If incompetent individuals are trained to improve their skills, they can recognize and acknowledge their initial errors. This is the hopeful aspect of the effect. It does not claim that people are stupid forever. It states that as they gain knowledge, they begin to see the complexity of the world and adjust their self-assessment. The graph that explains everything. The classic Dunning-Kruger effect graph is a visual story of the evolution of self-esteem. Peak of Mount Stupid. Upon just starting to learn about a topic, reading a couple of articles, watching a video, a person experiences a surge of confidence. They have acquired superficial knowledge, enough to form an opinion but not enough to see the abyss of the unknown. This is the phase when a business novice who has completed one training course believes they have found the secret to success and that everyone else is doing it wrong. Valley of Despair. Faced with reality, initial failures, complex tasks, criticism, the person begins to understand how much they don't know. Their confidence plummets. This is a painful but incredibly important stage. The entrepreneur realizes that desire alone is not enough. There is marketing, finance, logistics, legal matters, and all of these are complex systems. Slope of enlightenment. If the person doesn't give up, they begin to learn methodically and gain experience. Their real competence grows, and confidence returns, but slowly and in a justified manner. They understand the limits of their knowledge, learn to ask the right questions, and value expertise. Plateau of sustainability. The expert level. The person possesses deep knowledge but also realizes how vast the field is and how much more there is to learn. Their confidence is high but accompanied by a healthy dose of doubt and intellectual humility. This is the level of a master who says "I don't know," not out of ignorance, but because they see the multifaceted nature of the problem. Why experts underestimate themselves. Imposter syndrome. The flip side of the effect is the expert's low self-esteem. This happens for several reasons. The curse of knowledge. It is difficult for an expert to put themselves in a beginner's shoes. What seems obvious to them seems obvious to everyone. They find it hard to assess how valuable their deep knowledge is to someone who doesn't have it. Awareness of complexity. The more an expert knows, the more exceptions, nuances, and unstudied aspects they see. They understand that any simple solution has hidden pitfalls. Environment. Experts often circulate among other experts. Against their background, their own achievements may seem less significant. This is closely intertwined with imposter syndrome, the feeling that your successes are undeserved and that you are about to be exposed as a fraud. How to avoid the trap? Practical steps for an entrepreneur. Understanding the Dunning-Kruger effect is a powerful tool for building a career and a business. Embrace a growth mindset. Believe that abilities are not fixed but developed through effort and learning. Your goal is not to stay on Mount Stupid but to go through the valley of despair to the plateau of sustainability. Constantly seek feedback. This is the most effective way to deflate arrogance. Ask people to criticize your ideas, business plans, and products. It is important that this feedback comes from people whose competence you respect. Create a circle of honest and constructive advisors around you. Ask the question, what might I be missing? Make this question your mantra. When you are 100% confident in a decision, forcibly make yourself find 3 to 5 reasons why it might not work. This engages metacognition and helps reveal blind spots. Teach others. Attempting to explain a complex topic in simple terms is the best test of your own understanding. If you can't do it, your knowledge is still too superficial. Calibrate your confidence. Differentiate between confidence in your ability to learn and confidence that you already know everything. The former is an engine of progress, the latter is a sure sign of being on Mount Stupid. Be cautious in hiring. In an interview, a candidate on Mount Stupid may appear brighter and more confident than a modest expert. Learn to ask in-depth questions that reveal not only knowledge but also an understanding of the limits of that knowledge. Conclusion: the Dunning-Kruger effect is not a verdict but a map. A map that shows the dangerous territories of self-deception and the path to true competence. The realization that our self-assessment can be systematically distorted is the first and most important step toward intellectual maturity. In business, where the cost of a mistake is measured in real resources, the ability for sober self-assessment and constant questioning of one's obvious truths is not a weakness but a key competitive advantage.